Hi, Year 10. So this takes us to our third activity for week eight's online learning. So you should have already completed week eight, activity one and activity two. These are on Google Classroom. Please do not proceed with this activity if you have not done those. And all of these activities, guys, are mandatory and compulsory. So by the time we get back to week 10, I would expect that all of these activities have been completed. Okay, so our purpose still remains the same for week eight, guys, in our lessons. So our learning intention is still to examine how purpose drives textual meaning, and we are continuing to analyze different text types. I've kept the next text type a little bit different to the last one. Okay. Um, our success criteria today, again, recalling the four textual analysis terms. So we're still looking at audience, purpose, text type, and also the meaning, okay? And you will continue to examine the author's purpose and identify these in a sample text. So, your first step for today's lesson is I want you to go to under classwork in week eight online learning on Google Classroom. You'll see for activity three, I've put a link to this video. This is a video from a summit on climate change where Greta Thunberg spoke widely about how she feels towards the older generation and current politicians on climate change and the issues in the environment at the moment. So some of you may have seen this already, but even if you have, I need you to go back and watch it to give yourself that fresh context. It's about a 4-minute video. So there's 3 questions that I want you to consider as you watch. Who is the speaker? Okay. What is her intended message? And who is her intended audience based on what you hear in the video. So can I ask you to pause this video, jump on Google Classroom, week 8 online learning activity 3, and you'll see the link to her YouTube video answering these 3 questions. Okay, team? Just press pause. Okay, so guys, now that you've watched that YouTube video and you've answered those 3 questions that you see on the screen, I want to basically take you to the text that we're going to analyze for this lesson. And it's just important that you have that context of her speech in your head before you go into analyzing the text that we are going to look at for this lesson. So, Google Classroom again, under activity 3 for week 8, you will see this text here, okay? And this is the text that you're going to be analyzing for this lesson. So you should be able to make a copy of this text first. So file, make a copy. You can put your name at the start if you'd like. And the text is called Why Are Powerful Men So Scared of Greta Thunberg? Okay. So make a copy of this text. And what I would like you to do once you've made a copy of that document is read the text. Okay. In my Jeremy Lin video where I explain my analysis, I explained to you that it's important just to literally clear your desk, don't have a phone next to you, don't have anything else on your desk or your workspace apart from the text on the screen. I just want you to read the text from the hair to the toes, from start to finish, do nothing else. Okay, that's step 1. So can I ask you to pause this video, to open the document that's on Google Classroom, and just read the text, and you can pause this video. Okay, guys, so now that you've read the text once, your next step is to read the text again. This time in your Google Doc, what I would like you to do is to highlight as many language features as you can find. You can use the booklet on Google Classroom to help you. So there's a language features booklet under your materials in classwork. If you want to pause, go and grab that from Google Classroom. It's there for you to help you with language features. So highlighting as many language features as you can find in the text that you've just read, okay? What I would like you to do is make a comment to yourself, okay? So you'll get to have a look at my annotations eventually, but what I would like you to do is highlight a word, add a comment, tell me what the language feature is. Let's just say this is metonymy, even though it's not. And after you've done that, I want you to tell me the effect that this has on the reader, okay? So why is the author chosen to throw in a pun or to use inclusive language, for example? So as you highlight each, add a comment, and tell me, A, what is the language feature? B, how does this make the reader feel, or what effect does it have on the reader? Okay, so press pause on this video. That's your next step, is to go through these instructions here, find the document, make a copy, or you've already done that. So you just need to go through and start to highlight and find those language features. Give yourself as much time as you can here, all right? 10 to 15 minutes is a good place to be. So I'll get you to pause this video. Okay, that's task one. Can I ask you to make sure that you keep that document open, because you'll continue to need this document in your next activity. So task two now. There is a new document on Google Classroom, a secondary document, and it looks like this. And you have seen this document before because we used this document last week when we looked at the Jeremy Lin text. So again, file, make a copy of this document, and you do need to work through this this table here. So text type. What text type do you think that the piece that you just read is? I want you to find two layout features that hint that to you. So what are the clues in the layout that tell you that this is the text type? And also two language features that also hint that to you. So when I'm talking about layout features, I mean things that are to do with formatting. When I talk about language, I mean words or phrases or sentences, okay? The second box asks you what's the purpose of that's an error, sorry, of the Greta Thunberg text, okay? I'm going to change that for you as I'm speaking. Um, and also, what's the main point that the author tried to make clear to the audience? So answering all the questions here on the right-hand side, they are the same questions that you answered for your Jeremy Lin text, and we're going to do similar questions for each text that we analyze. So spend some time now working through this document here. Once you've finished this document, can I ask you to please post that to Google Classroom? But beforehand, one last thing that you need to add underneath your table is your answer to this last question. So last lesson we spoke about ideologies, and I explained what ideology means. So once you've finished the table that I've just shown, there's one more question that I have for you. Whoops, and it is, what do you think the author's main ideologies are? And how does it help you to see what the purpose of the text is? If you remember, an ideology means an author's belief or a person's belief or opinion that doesn't really necessarily have any facts behind the opinion. It's just the way that they feel or what they believe. So what do you think the author's main ideologies are? How does that help you to see what the purpose of the text might be, the point that they're trying to get across to us, okay? If they're trying to persuade us to believe something, to inform us about something, how does that help us? The ideologies of the author, how does it help us to see what the point or the purpose of the text is? So pausing this video, we're going to work on the table first. And once you've finished the table, answering question 4 underneath the table, please submit to Google Classroom once you've finished. And if you can press pause now before I explain task 3. Okay, so year 10, the last activity that you need to complete is summarizing for me in a paragraph. Now that you've done your table, now that you have the contextual background of Greta Thunberg and what she's fighting for, in a paragraph, which should be about 5 to 7 sentences, I'd say 6 to 7 is a good place to be. If you want to go more than that, that's fine. For me, in a paragraph, you need to summarize the text type, the audience, and the purpose of the text, okay? And also comment on how the author's ideologies might help to show what the purpose of the text is. So basically everything that you've just discovered in this text, can you please summarize that in a paragraph? We don't use Peel here necessarily, because a summary paragraph is more of an overall general summary of what your discoveries are. And if you actually go to page 36 of your How to Write What You Want to Say booklet, the little booklet that I gave you to help write your essay, page 36 has some good sentence starters, and also a sample paragraph in there, and some good connecting words that you can use in a summary paragraph. So jump onto page 36 and 37 of that language booklet that I gave you, and that will be really helpful. Team, if you can make sure that all of this is submitted, it needs to be finished in time for you to return to school in week 10. I will not be going back on this and reteaching it, but I will be going through your answers with you in class, okay? So if you have questions, let me know. I'm going to leave it here and give you the time now to work on these 3 activities. Thanks, guys.